I'm trying out a new sound system here, so figured today was as good a day as any. It's Tuesday. Go over a few things here. Most of you know I haven't been too active on here for a couple of months. And the reason being, my wife was in pretty rough shape, and she recently passed away. And so I'm trying to figure out how to conduct the rest of my life. I can tell you it's not easy. There's no magic wand to wave and look into the future to see what you're going to be doing. But one thing I was upset with a little bit was the amount of attacks that happened while I was more or less looking after my wife, and I wasn't checking so much my channel. I had other people that were out there doing that for me, and every once in a while, some of the comments were told to me what was going on out there and how my wife was ridiculed in some places, and obviously the attacks on me have been ongoing for over a year now because of my disagreement with Mr. Hales. And I guess I never figured that people were so low that they would go after a man's wife. And it was almost as if they were going to celebrate when she's deceased. I think it shows a lack of morals for people to do that, use somebody's spouse or relative to celebrate their death, just to show their despise of their husband, or whether a wife, or whether it was an uncle or cousin, anything like that. There's a lawyer out there, his name was Stark, and he was trying to defend Miss Preston, and he had health issues, and every time he went to the hospital or had a problem where he was having to follow some doctor's orders, he was ridiculed on multiple channels out there. Some of them questioned, was he really using that as a way not to have to show up for court, or not doing the job quite adequately? Whatever the case, the man really did have a problem. He died of a heart attack. And as soon as that happened, one of the creators out there announced he was still going to go after the estate. I don't know how that poor wife feels about it, but all her husband did was act as a lawyer for Miss Preston. And was she so hated that they went after her lawyer and the wife. What gets me, this isn't the first lawyer that was attacked by these groups. It seems like every lawyer that touches the Preston case ends up being scrutinized, smeared all over the internet, and I don't quite see why. Now, Bruce, the first lawyer that I'm aware of that was, he's not the first one that was attacked. I take that back. But Bruce was the one that stepped in to try to help Michelle out. And as far as I know, to this day, he's doing everything he can to help her. And he was attacked with race epithets and also physical appearance. And he was stalked. They found out where his wife worked, what her hours of operation were, and also the fact that he had a 14-year-old juvenile daughter living at home. There were a lot of comments made some of them not so nice. Now, his daughter and his wife didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not sure why they were part of the case, but they were made part of the case. And I wonder if part of the reasoning might be that if you could scare the lawyers off, then eventually they run out of lawyers. Now, whether it was intentionally done that way or not, that's what happened. The lawyer on the Ohio case asked to be off and is gone. The lawyer that represented her on a PO case and also on another case, there seems to be some controversy surrounding that now. I haven't dug into it deep enough to really tie all the ends in, but I'm certainly going to look at it and do everything I can to find out why all this stuff was happening. Now, most of you realize that if the word gets out and the lawyers are a little leery about touching the case, it's very hard to get represented. Now, obviously I live in another state. I'm being sued along with Miss Preston. But anyway, there's 11 people in the lawsuit I'm involved in. As far as I know, it's going to be the same judge, or at least to this point. Things haven't worked out that great for Miss Preston. She's being harassed continuously the whole time. Now, she's pretty upset, and she's striking out at all those around her. And I guess I'm not so sure why she would do that to the people that were protecting her or trying to. But she is. And it'd be great if I could find out why. She's being bombarded from all sides. And only time will tell, what the result is going to be of that. If I was in her shoes, I'd be extremely worried, because by now she probably feels the whole world has come down on top of her. Now, I haven't stopped praying for her, and I feel for her. And I can understand how hurt she would be thinking that those that had provided for her now had withdrawn. But they only withdrew from her because she had asked that, or actually hinted to it by her own words when she had said that she was better off before they backed her up, before they made all these donations, that she's in worse shape. And she claims it's the people that helped her the most that hurt her the most now. And when I looked at the whole thing over, I don't quite see it that way. But I see where those that are opposing Michelle in general and all those involved with helping her out have made it seem as though that's what is going on. They've twisted the words, they've twisted what went on, they've made insinuations, and it's made the case kind of up in the air. And it's going to be up to the legal eagles to figure it out for the 11 that are being charged in civil court, federal court. Now myself, I plan on getting legal assistance. It just so happens, in my younger days, I was involved heavily in a lot of businesses. Some of the old heads of businesses are still out there, and I've contacted different people to get recommendations because, I've been out of it for quite a while as far as figuring out who's the best lawyer out there, which firm is the most dependable, and where can I depend on somebody like that? Because looking at this case, it's a tough one. So you got to go as high as you can to the very top that you can and start there and say, look, fellas, I want some help in this case. Unfortunately, a lot of people my age, they've been out of it for a while too. but not all of them. And I still have a few people that I'm crossing my fingers down there in Florida that may want to step into this hot ring of fire and defend myself and any others that are going to come in with me. I haven't put anything together yet, but I'm not giving up. I guess I'm more determined now than ever after seeing how brutally and how mean and the lack of morals of people that went after my wife before and after she was deceased. Some of them thought I was using her hospitalization as a reason to get out of court. I haven't asked out. I answered the summons. I'm not guilty. I'm going to protect my First Amendment. I'm also protecting the First Amendment for all of you out there who are listening. I have a right to my opinion. And just because I expressed that I thought somebody was a bully, or maybe have more than one personality, I was attacked immediately for it, the first time I ever mentioned the word. And it guided me more towards looking at Michelle and saying, this poor woman, I can understand now why she's so scared. She has been tortured, mental torture. It's one of the most effective things if you were in a war. Prisoners get a lot of mental torture. That's so that the person in control of them can bring them to their side, make them say things they wouldn't normally say. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like what maybe has happened to Michelle? That those that feel they're in control, the social networks out there are now guiding her into a different direction and have got her ear? Because this happens to prisoners of war all the time. The more important a person is, the more they have to sacrifice or would try to endure what's happening to them. There are times that you would rather be unlived than to endure it. You actually think of passing. You think of giving up your most prized properties. You may even think of giving up your relatives just so you can get to the next day because you hurt so much. There's very little medication that can help you when you're scared. The natural flow of adrenaline, it makes you either fight or run. Now, Michelle has done, she fights. And she would bite if she'd get close enough and scratch and do whatever it takes. And I can tell you there's been a lot of people right now that are involved in this thing that probably are going to do the same thing to a certain extent. So as long as they don't lose hope and they keep moving forward, they stand a pretty good chance, in numbers at least. Not monetarily, but there are people out there that are willing to listen, and providing most of us can use our head a little bit and not get swayed or beat down, and we can stand up on our feet. You just have to keep getting back up. Once you start running, it's going to be pretty hard to stop. It's not just the bully that will chase you. It's everybody associated with that bully will join the gang. And at that point, it's mob rule. My advice out there to everybody is stand up and be counted. On my part, I'm going to fight it with everything I've got. I'm going to try to go back and pick up some of those people years ago that I did business with and see what kind of advice I can get. I'm not asking any of them for financial help. But if I do, it'll be on my channel itself. It won't be a letter in the mail saying, hey, I knew you from somewhere, whatever it is, and I'm needing financial help. What I want to do is some of you guys that appreciate the fact that I've been on here and that I'm willing to fight for my rights, your rights, our rights, and try to get people to come together. You know, when there's more than 1 million people calling you names and after you, it's hard to face that mob. You look back there and you say, that's overwhelming. But you know, the people that formed our country and wrote the Constitution, they had that same problem. They had a huge country that was coming after them. After all, they were just minions in a country that was a brand new country, didn't have ways of defending itself in real terms. All they had was stamina, grit, determination, whatever you want to call it. They certainly didn't have a lot of money, but they did have a few friends out there, and they called on them. And some of them friends come in and helped them. The result was the United States. United States. The 13 original states seems pretty small compared to a country that ruled the world at one time or another, or parts of it. It has pieces of country all over the world to this day. The United States grew quick. Sometimes they get a little haughty about it. You get brought back every once in a while. World War II was one place. They lost most of their naval fleet. Well, see, I'm not going to get taken by surprise. I've been around a while. I still have my mental facilities. And yes, I'm not going to run. Yes, I'm going to fight for everything that I have a privilege to because of this United States gave me that right. I'm not going to be masked. I'm not going to have my speech taken away from me. All you did is you made me more determined when you came after my family. Using my family's obit a couple months ago against me in that hate group, that Facebook hate group. Yeah, I know, it's a mix of everybody, isn't it? And they all get in there and fight and hate each other. I only found it by accident when somebody said, hey, they're making remarks about you in there, Ray. When I looked in there, I thought it was pretty foolish. But I can see that there are some crazies in there. You get some of those people that are that way, they're involved, and pretty soon there's a lot of physical harm done as well as mental issues. I don't think it's a good place to fight your battle. But when we get in the courtroom, you can bet I'll be there. That's a promise. With that, I'm going to let you go, and I hope you guys understand sometime in the very near future, am I going to monetize this? Well, I'm thinking real strong about it. And am I going to have chats? You bet I am. Am I going to have a GoFundMe out there? I am going to do that too. You see, I want all the ammunition I can have to help me. After all, I'm fighting against somebody that is rolling downhill and is a big snowball. If I don't figure out a way to stop it, I'm going to get engulfed in it. I'll be in the avalanche on the wrong end of it. I have no intention of ending up there. And for all of you who want to help me, will you come on board? Come on in my comments down here. Let me know, do I have some of you for backing out there? There were thousands of people that prayed for my wife and myself. And I got to spend an extra couple of months with my wife because of it. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on here, even though I was accused of being on here every single day with live shows. You believe that? But I didn't do that. This is not live. On purpose. I am going to have some live shows. Between now and when I end up in court, not only do I plan on monetizing this, I plan on getting a decent legal team together that I can. And I'm going to make sure that I vet them to the point where they're not scared to set up in court. And I'm hoping all of you that are listening to me out there are willing to go along with me on this. It's not a game. And it stopped being a game when they come after me and my family. The moral issues involved in this are beyond reason. Some of those out there that think they're a big shot and can just walk all over some minion out here, some small person that doesn't matter. Well, I got news for you. This small guy is standing up, and I'm going to fight until I'm no longer here. I will not give up. But I would like to see how many of you are willing to stand up. You stood up for me the last couple of months. How many of you are willing to stand up for me over the next year? This case isn't going to fade away. It's got to be fought by people who are willing to stand up. And I'm not going to call people names or any of that stuff. I have one intent. That's to win. And anybody who looks at my background over the years knows once I make up my mind, it's pretty hard to push me off the path. I was good in business because of that. I retired a long time ago and figured I would never have to face an enemy again. But by bringing me into this court system, I found out I've got a lot more enemies than what I thought, and I've let it lay too long. I'm going to need some help out there. This is one time that I'm relying on a lot of people out there that have the same thought in mind that they want to fight for our constitutional rights against an enemy that's nothing more than a bully. Now, I don't say a lot of names out there because, quite frankly, things like this are happening all over the country. In the news every day you see it. But this touches your life and my life on a personal basis. How would you like your family to be attacked today? How would you like to be a neighbor to those people? Can you think of the scrutiny you'd be under at all times, and you'd be worried that you'd say the wrong thing or look the wrong way? Then all of a sudden pictures are taken of you and your property. Threats are made against you and your family. Do you want that? Are you willing to stand up when the courts are used to beat people down? And the courts, the only way that they win in court is because they've got enough money to slap you down. How about some of us poor people get together and stand up against this? Let's be David and not Goliath. Okay, that's it for today. Let me know what you feel, and let me know how much you're willing to help me. And I'm not talking about financial at this point. The financial end is going to come when I redo this whole thing, this whole channel. And I'll put all the bells and whistles on there, and we will go to it, and we're going to fight this battle together. I'm looking forward to all those who are willing to help me. I haven't asked this before. And you know I'm dead serious. I'm not laughing about any of this. It's not a game anymore. So, thank you. Thank you for listening. Let me know how you feel. Put your comments in there. Sub to my channel, if you will. I need subs. If I'm going to fight this battle, I've got to have some people on there willing to fight it with me. Talk to all your friends. Bring them in. I'm going to give you a chance to talk and tell your case on the live. I'm going to do that because I want you on here. I want you to express your opinion. I want you to tell me how you really feel. I don't want you to be guided by somebody else. I'm going to give you all the facts I can, but we're going to go forward. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.